For some people, flexibility means something very different. Some people it's about bending down, touching your toes. Other people it's about doing the splits. But the meaning can be a bit confusing. So we're just going to have a look at it in terms of improving your range of motion, specifically the range of motion that you can move in. So I'm going to take you through a drill that will help you overcome some common mistakes that a lot of people make when looking at flexibility training. And you'll also learn how to open up probably one of the tightest areas that I notice with people, and that is the hips. Okay, so let's just have a look at a bit of an example about flexibility and one of the most common mistakes as to why it doesn't really work for a lot of people. So we'll take a classic stretch like, let's say the hurdler's stretch, where someone has the intent to stretch the hamstring. We might sit down in this position and we might bend forward and then hold and breathe into this. And while this can be great to relax and we can pull into it and breathe, all it is doing is improving the area's ability to relax. But when we think about when we need to move, we don't actually need to just relax. We need to learn how to balance contraction and relaxation. So say we started to apply some resistance to that stretch. Maybe we were up in a position like this and we hadn't built the strength in this area. Well, then you would find that the body starts to just give you a bit of warning signs because it doesn't feel safe in that range. So when we're looking to improve flexibility that you can use to improve your range of motion for movement, what we need to do is balance the demands of strength and flexibility so then your body feels safe in those ranges. There's another thing that we'll consider as well is if we just build our flexibility in straight lines, like the hurdler's stretch that I did before, well then we'll have flexibility here maybe if we practice long enough over time with the right methods. But then what happens if we move outside of here or outside of here? Each of them have different lines of tissue. So what we find is we end up building a robotic type structure. In essence, to develop more range of motion in the body, it needs to feel safe in that range. And if you haven't got strength in that range or an ability to feel all of the tissue, then what happens is it builds up tension and it won't allow you any further. So what I want to look to teach you to do is how do you connect the body while you're improving your flexibility and strength at the same time. Let's take a look at that with the hips. What we're going to do is integrate all of those principles that we've just gone through. So we'll start off in a position called the horse stance. You might be familiar, it's present in a lot of different martial arts. The intent first is just to relax. We don't want to start from a place of tension. We just want to relax down into the position, particularly so the femur, the bones here that go up into the hip, they're not jammed up in there. So if we try to force ourselves down in there, we might be starting with tension. So just breathe, relax, and sit down and feel the femurs move out. Relax the muscles and start to feel the tissue beneath it. Feel the springiness that starts to develop. This is not about just fully being floppy, because then you put pressure on the joints and all that sort of thing. It's about developing control in that new range, getting used to where is the fringe, dancing with it, exploring it, making it dynamic. So it's just not just this is my range, you can move all around the joint. There's a really good saying that my teacher once taught me, and that is to find the steel beneath the cotton wool. Find the steel, which is the fascia beneath, and that's a structure that binds your whole body and is responsible to help you move as one unified structure. We want to keep the muscles relatively relaxed. If we tense up, then it's going to really limit our range. The most important thing is to listen to your body. Don't just mimic what I'm doing, listen to your body. That's the biggest tip so far. So there's a couple of variables. You might go a bit narrower. You might turn your feet out a little bit because your ankles might not be flexible enough yet, or your knees might not be strong enough yet, or there's a whole bunch of different variables. And we just want to first explore up and down. Just explore the ranges and find the fringe of where your flexibility and strength is. Then we'll start to explore rotation around that. So we're just really exploring all these little detailed areas of the hip and just opening it up, because you use this in many, many movements in life, like walking, jumping, squatting down, moving around, martial arts. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The hips are very dynamic, and a lot of people are inflexible in that area because they don't move them dynamically. So we're going to just start off just rotating. You can really place your hands anywhere. I'm not going to give you too many strict rules. This is about exploration of your range of movement. Feel the whole body developing connections and not just trying to stretch one individual area. And this can deepen over time. Maybe you're just up here at the start, and that's completely fine. That's where I started. And next we just start to sit down, gradually deeper, and then just sit into it and feel all of the connections all the way down through your legs, through your hips, into your feet. You can place your hands on the ground if you need. Just use as little support as what you need and feel the femur move in the hip. And just explore. If you need to rest, just come rest, walk around, and then come back to it. So to recap, working through up and down, side to side, or rotation, and side to side. And these have a range of different applications as you develop the strength and flexibility that you need. So these are just some examples, and notice the quality. What we're looking to do is feel the whole body connected so then it can all move as one. So there's no one vulnerable part where all of your weight goes on. It's looking at the body as a whole system. So there's some little points to consider for you to improve the range of motion of your hips. They're just the basics. Explore it and gradually improve. And what you'll notice is as you get to learn and feel what's going on deep within your hips, then flexibility and range of motion will naturally improve.